Welcome back to Theresa.is.Dead. My name is Theresa and I'm very much alive. And if you're new here, welcome. I have an awful garbage mouth, and if you're not into that or weird shit in general, then this is probably not the place for you. Feel free to X out the video here. No harm, no foul, but I'll remember our time fondly. If you want to jump straight to the swatches and the review, I'll leave a time code down below. Feel free to jump ahead. So I know in my last video, or was it the video before? I don't know. I talked about John. John is another one of those quirky coworkers that I have. And someone, or actually there was a couple of you guys that mentioned in the comments the reason why he left, because he shit his pants. Funny story. So the other day when I was in the office, I was making copies and just, you know, living my own life, making copies, you know, pretending not to kill myself, the usual, when John came over and struck up a conversation with me. Now, I know I mentioned before that I don't know John personally because I don't know John. John is somebody that works there, but John's the type of person who will spill his whole life history to you. So like literally in 5 minutes, you'll find out that he has 2 brothers, mother and father that are both divorced. He lives on Long Island, you know, etc, 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 right? So John started talking to me about dating. He knows that I'm married and he was just kind of asking my advice on certain things because me and John are kind of close in age. I think John's like maybe 2 years older than me. So John's telling me about all the different dating websites he's on, like, you know, Plenty of Fish, OkCupid, Tinder, fucking some BBW one. Like, he's fucking casting a large net, y'all. So then he starts saying,
you know, I want to ask your advice on something.
Yeah, sure. What do you want to know?
I'm actually supposed to be meeting this girl tonight for drinks, but I don't know, just something just happened right now that I don't know if I can do it.
What do you mean something that happened right now?
And this might be too much, but I went to the bathroom, I was trying to fart, and I wound up, you know, just I shit my pants.
He's not trolling me, okay? He literally just told me he shit his pants. I am in the process of making copies and I need to try to make this somehow normal. I just went, oh, well, that sucks. Like, what the fuck do you say?
I don't know I don't know what I should do. Like, you know, do you think I should just like throw out my underwear?
So now I'm thinking to myself, oh my god, this man is talking to me with shit in his pants? You gotta be you gotta be fucking kidding me at this point. I was like, yes, you should throw them away.
You don't think that's weird, right? Like, they're gonna find my underwear.
How would they know it's your underwear?
Good point. Do you think I can, you think I could probably get clothes somewhere?
Now, in my head, I'm thinking to myself, should I feel honored that he trusts me? Or should I feel disappointed that he thinks that I, on a number of occasions, have shit myself and have been in a similar situation? I don't know. I mean, either way, it sucks. So I just said to him, like, you know, we work in Midtown Manhattan. I'm like, you know, there's like the Gap, Macy's. Like, you could just go now and just, you know, literally just go get some new clothes. Nobody would ever know.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate the advice.
I said, anytime, John, anytime. So yeah, a coworker admitted to me that he shit his pants and didn't know what to do about it. Again, I don't know if I should be insulted or honored, but either way, it makes a great story, so you're welcome. On today's video, we're going to be talking about the Morphe James Charles palette, which I'm so excited to be talking about. But before I get into my overall thoughts, let me read you a little bit about the palette. The James Charles palette retails for $39. When James Charles says you can create anything, he means it. For real. Oh god. The color never ends with this Morphe full spectrum palette of 39 dialed up, deeply pigmented shades, with 4 rows of stunning color combos and 1 row of supersized shades. You'll be ready to take on any look you can dream of. So go on and go for it, and don't hold back. So this palette comes in this beautiful, beautiful box that I actually want to hold on and keep the palette in it because this is absolutely stunning, especially for Morphe packaging. Morphe packaging in itself is like, bleh. This though, this is fucking everything. Like, I love this image of James Charles. So on the back of this box it says, "Hi sisters, James Charles here and welcome back to my palette. I love glam, but I also have a huge passion for crazy, colorful, outside of the box makeup, and I created this palette with that in mind. I included every beautifully formulated shade necessary to create literally any look you could possibly imagine. I can't wait to see what you come up with when you unleash your inner artist." And it's cute, signed by James Charles. I love this box. I think it's awesome. So for $39, this is the palette that you get, and it's a beautiful, stunning black on black palette. It is not like the typical disgusting plastic ass fucking cases that Morphe normally does, and it's nothing like the Jaclyn Hill palette, which Sorry, Moosey. Which is this palette right here. As you can tell, look at the difference, like the size difference here. The Jaclyn Hill one has like a definitely a cardboardy plastic feel to this. So the outside packaging is this like beautiful kind of faux leather-esque. I don't know what kind of material this is. And this is the kind of packaging that doesn't really create a lot of fingerprints, which is super fucking nice. Now, when you open her up, you have a lovely little message that says, unleash your inner artist, and you have all these beautiful colors. I'll be honest, I was very hesitant about purchasing this Morphe palette only because I love the Jaclyn Hill original palette. I hated the fucking vault with the passion. And if you haven't seen those videos, I'll link them somewhere up here. And the fact that people were just having polarizing experiences with that vault collection, it was enough for me to be turned off by the company. So the last thing that I actually did purchase from Morphe was the 35 Embossed Mood palette. I think was actually my last video that I reviewed. So I'm gonna make sure to kind of put that up here so you can check that out if you haven't already. I was happy to say that I really like that palette. However, I was, you know, trepidatious because I didn't know what kind of formula this palette was gonna be. And then there was like a lot of bullshit about the swatches. I don't know, I didn't really get too much into the drama, but apparently James was like pre-swatching. I don't fucking know, whatever. Anyway, it was some bullshit drama that I just try to stay out of because I don't care because I'm an adult. So I think really based off the fact that I had a shitty experience with the vault collection, that's why I wasn't going to purchase this. So I actually didn't purchase this on an initial launch through the Morphe site. I purchased this through Ulta today because yeah, I felt like if I hated it, I wanted to be able to return it because Morphe's return policy is a little fucking finicky and honestly I'm just not into it. Now, what I will say about this palette, I like it. I really do. I really, really like this palette a lot. I'm actually pleasantly surprised how much I like it. This is definitely different formula than the other Morphe palettes. Without a shadow of a doubt, this is very different. This actually is kind of on par, I would say, with the original Jaclyn Hill palette. My feelings on it anyway. Nothing from the vault, it's just the original Jaclyn Hill palette. I didn't have the original one, was it the 39A or whatever the fuck the number was? That was like all colors and shit like that. I never had that palette to begin with, so it didn't bother me that this was like a completely colorful palette. What really drew me, besides this beautiful fucking yellow, was the fact that it's actually everything. This is very true to what James is saying. Like, you could literally create whatever the fuck you want with this palette, and I like that. Now these eyeshadows. Of course I didn't use them all because that would be fucking impossible, but I tried to use a fair amount of shades to kind of give you like a really nice idea of how I think these eyeshadows perform. So the mattes, I feel, were spectacular. They were wonderful. They were very pigmented, they were creamy, they were easy to blend. There was probably like a little bit of kickback in certain ones, and then there were like absolutely no kickback in other eyeshadow pans. There was a little fallout, especially with when you go with more of the colorful shades like the blues and the greens and the yellows. There's gonna be fallout, and it's the fallout that kind of sticks. So kind of keep that in mind if you're gonna do some sort of colorful look. I would recommend to either use a shadow shield or do your fucking base last. It's just so much easier. The shimmers are wonderful. They're very reminiscent to the original Jaclyn Hill palette. I have nothing bad to say about them. And I used the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray for all the shimmery shades because it's just kind of second nature at this point. I know in James's video he mentioned that you should be using a primer because they're pressed pigments. First of all, the Morphe primer sucks dick for days. Don't buy that one. And if you do have it and you make it work, that's wonderful, but for me I found that it was very fucking greasy and just gross, and the fucking eyeshadow slid everywhere, and it was just, it was nasty. So what I used today was just a straight up concealer base. The NARS Soft Matte Concealer in the shade Light to Vanilla. And this has actually been my go-to eyeshadow primer technically for, I don't know, the past couple of months now. I feel like that is actually the best primer that I've ever used. So I kind of just don't fuck with eyeshadow primer anymore. I'd rather just use concealer at this point. So I had no issue with blending out or building up any sort of color. You know what's funny is that I usually get very overwhelmed with Morphe eyeshadow palettes in general because I feel like a lot of the colors look very similar, and then I just kind of panic and have a nervous breakdown. I feel like I don't get overwhelmed when I look at it, which is nice because any other palette I get completely overwhelmed and I'm like, there's just too many fucking options. I don't know what to do. I only have two eyes, and then I lose my shit. I feel like having these big pans kind of makes it like a nice divide of like, here's your color, here's your rainbows, and then here's like your normal everyday looks. And I like that about the palette. I know I think there's some people that really kind of hate that there are big pans, but I actually really enjoy it, and it breaks up the palette and so it doesn't look so overwhelming. So this palette retails for a cool $39, and you know, normally their Morphe palettes kind of, sorry, that's someone vacuuming somewhere. Some fucking dimension apparently. I'm just really impressed with how much I like this. I really thought I was gonna hate it, and then I was gonna be like, this is just kind of like some overhyped bullshit. But no, it's actually really good, and this is a fucking great yellow. And I know in James's video he was like, this yellow is so pigmented, oh my god, and I was literally like, Yeah, right. No, it is. It fucking, he wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. This yellow is super pigmented and it's super beautiful. So this will definitely be on my list of awesome yellows whenever that fucking video comes out, which trust me, will be by the end of the year. I swear to God, I'm gonna do it. I think what's really nice about this palette is that technically you don't need anything else. So if you're traveling and you don't mind taking this very big fucking cumbersome palette, this is all you really need. It has shimmers, it has mattes, it has color, it has neutral, it has everything. Only negative I would have to say about this palette is that it's big. It's big. She's a big bitch. She's a thick girl, and while I do appreciate that, it's a little fucking awkward to hold. It's a little on the heavier side. So you really kind of need both hands when holding this big bitch, and that was probably my biggest complaint. My other criticism of this palette is, while I appreciate all these colors and everything, I wish there were a little bit more cool tone options. There's a lot of warmth in this palette, which is fine, but I think every palette has some sort of fucking warm variation. It's kind of nice to have some sort of cool options, and this has some, but it could be better. I'm very happy that I made this purchase. I'm not returning it. $39 well spent. So if you've been on the fence about this palette, I personally wouldn't be, because this is actually some really good quality, and I like to think that this pretty much mirrors the Jaclyn Hill palette. So if you really like that palette, I think you're gonna really like this palette. I do want to say that I am a fan of James Charles. Even though he can be a touch annoying with the goddamn sister thing, I still think that he's a good boy. A good boy. I guess I can say that because I'm technically 33 and he's like not even 21. Is he 21? Fuck. Where did I go wrong in my life? God damn it. Okay, anyway, so seriously, I'm so happy for him, and I hope this palette is a huge success for him. So if you go to the Morphe site, which I believe it's sold out currently right now, you could obviously use a bunch of affiliate codes for 10% off. However, it is available in Ulta. As of today, I physically went to Ulta and I picked this palette up. So keep in mind, if you do go to Ulta, it's a very limited stock, but it's still available online if you want to purchase this. And while I do think that this palette is completely worth $39, if you can use some Ulta points, or like, you know, like the normal $3.50 coupon that you get every fucking couple months or so, use it. Because I mean, shit, we all love a good deal, right? So while I think that this is totally worth the money, it's always nice to save a little bit of coins. On that note, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it as always. Feel free to like, comment, hit that subscribe button. It's free. And hit that bell icon for notification of all my future posts. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And I'll see you little pumpkins later. Bye.